What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of the Perception Therapy Podcast. Today is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2017. Uh, how are you? Hope everybody is doing well. Did not have a guest for today, so I just figured I'd come in and share a couple stories. We've been through a couple of interesting weeks. Um, the first of stories I want to share is we had, so I've been telling what's been going on with this field across the street. They've been trying to take it. The farm companies that own most of the farmland around here, they've been trying to fence off this field, and they left the portion that faces us unfenced. So basically, they're trying to keep us out of the field across from them, or connecting to them, and basically just keep us from crossing that line. Um, Helped my wife's cousin trap a pack of horses. There was three of them at the time, and we trapped the pack of horses in the corner and tied one of them up. At the time, we were told that it was his friend's horse who lives down a little further, so everything presumed was all good. Tied the horse up, started feeding him. My wife and my daughter started picking grass and started feeding the horse, and I had found these bushes where they eat these wild cucumbers. I don't have any here on the table, sorry. But there's these cucumbers that are small, yellow. They look like a plum tomato, if that makes any sense. But they're yellow, and the horse was chewing on this thing, and they were loving it. So I was hand feeding horses, wild horses. Turns out they were wild. The second day, oh no, definitely not the second day. The third day that they were here tied up, um, I asked the same cousin who helped us trap them uh, if he would ride one without any gear on. You know, no saddle, no harness or anything like that. And he was like, "Yeah, I could probably do it. You know, he's got some experience training horses." And so, you know, he took a regular rope, fashioned a harness out of it, with some nice, smooth looking knots, and he jumped on the horse. So all was well. I jumped on the horse, my first time being on a horse without a saddle. My first time being on a horse since I was about 11. I'm 33 now and not getting any younger. So the horse dipped down. Um, I dipped down with him because my thought process is I got to stay tight to him so that way he doesn't buck me off. So I basically come down to try to be where the horse's head is at to try to, you know, ride the rhythm of this horse. And before I could get myself into position where I was trying to get to, his head came back, and luckily I was fine. But he busted my lip and bruised my cheek for a couple of days. No big deal. But it was like getting head kicked, so that was interesting. Um, my wife and my daughter kept feeding him, and he would let me ride him in little circles. But in one of those, he stopped listening to the commands I was giving him, and the cousin next door lifted the rope like he was going to smack him on the ass, and the horse jolted in the direction of a tree with spines on it. The ceiba trees that I've been saying. That's what ended up saving the park across the street. There are these sacred trees here because they're so old and they grow so big. Um, so he was headed towards a ceiba tree. I jumped off the horse and scuffed myself up just a little bit. Everything was fine, but fun story nonetheless. It's not every day you get to ride a wild horse, so check one off the bucket list. That was pretty awesome. The fourth day they were here because it was over the long weekend, and the fourth day they were here, one of the little baby horses came around, and what we were assuming was the mother of that horse was very timid the first couple days, but the day the little horse came around, she allowed herself to be pet. So all three of them kind of broke into us over that weekend, so it was nice. Um, what else is new? Let's see. Man, I had some frustrations here in Puerto Rico. I love this place, I really do, but the customer service here is awful, 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 awful. We had some car trouble a couple weeks ago. My wife was driving the car to pick up our daughter, and the radiator started leaking fluid. So it overheated and left her there at the school. Her aunt lent me her car, so I was able to get there and put some liquid in it, make sure it didn't overheat again, and we drove it home. During the week, I took it to the dealership. Matter of fact, Monday morning, I took it to the dealership um, just to have it diagnosed. Um, I've mentioned it before, but for those of you who are new listeners, I was an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force, and my father and uncle ran an auto parts shop when I was a kid. They did a lot of the maintenance there. So I'm no stranger to being under the hood or to having tools in my hand. So I basically just wanted it diagnosed so I could change the part myself. I'm not opposed to doing that. I'm all for it. I can handle it. Um, in the process of the guy diagnosing the car, he asked me if I had the warranty on the car. Usually I don't take it. Um, this time we did, luckily for us. So we ended up paying $66 for the car to be there overnight and for the radiator fan to be replaced, for fluid to be replenished into the car, and some um, what the hell's the word? Some recall for my door locks was taken care of. But the customer service there was awful. I mean, this guy, he was very busy. I understood that, but um, you know, I've had busier days as a mechanic in the heat of the desert. So you know, it was a lot for me to be patient with this guy, knowing his job was something I could easily do. It was very frustrating. Um, but ultimately everything turned out fine with the car. Friday we definitely got some bad. I got some bad news. A military friend of mine, Brandon Pugh, was involved in a car accident and lost his life. His son was sent to intensive care. From what I understand, his son is responding well. But that was not news anybody wants to hear. My buddy Brandon left behind a wife and 6 children. Um, he was a great guy. Another military friend of mine, Adam Fiegel, gave him a nice, tribute on Facebook Live, where he was sharing stories of Brandon. I myself don't have any stories in particular to share. I just remember this man being, um, the term is overly used, but salt of the earth. Really good guy. Um, I was deployed with him once, I believe, if not twice. Um, Team guy, never never willing to let somebody get overburdened. He was always willing to pitch in a hand to make sure that you didn't suffer any extra that you had to. I honestly don't remember what his profession was in the Air Force. It was obviously something to do with aircraft maintenance, but I want to dare say he was engines. Um, Regardless of what his job was, he was a gentleman. He was a great guy, and for sure his family's going to miss him. And it's terrible. You know, a terrible situation when kids are ripped apart from their fathers. Obviously, his wife. I'm understanding that his wife is a stay-at-home mom because they have 6 children. Um, I will be posting the GoFundMe link that will go to tributing to. I'm sorry, to contribute to his family. To help support them. We are unaware of any life insurance that might be out there to help his family at this difficult time. But I for sure want to send my condolences to his family, the Pugh family, and it's terrible. On the other hand, it was great to see the aircraft maintenance uh, men and women that I used to serve with come together at a time like this. I have very few of them on Facebook, the people I've been able to reconnect with. Um, this group exposed a lot of other people that I haven't seen in a while, and it was nice to see they're doing well from the chat. You know, obviously most of the focus was on Brandon, but obviously everybody gave their short updates, and it was great to see everybody's doing well. Unfortunately, Brandon Pugh's family's not. You know, I hope his son gets better. From what I understand, the funeral services were postponed until his son is, you know, recovered and out of the hospital, so he can attend his father's funeral. So hug and kiss your family. You have no idea what's going to happen on the commute home, on the commute to work, on the commute to school, back and forth. The unfortunate reality is that so many people are unfocused, doing a very dangerous part of their day is driving. I've seen countless accidents here due to the fact that people were on the phone. Not only here, but in Miami as well, where I used to live. I had the fortune of commuting on Metro commute. So riding the bus or riding the train, and that gives you the nice perspective of seeing all the people in traffic, and the lack of attention that they pay to their very lethal vehicle that they are whipping around. So, yeah, there's that. Other than that, things have been going well for me, well for my family. Hopefully there's a promotion soon in my wife's future. She has been kicking ass for many years, and us moving here to Puerto Rico was part of that. And she has shown her true colors, as she always does, and outshined all her coworkers, people who are in her line of work. So, with doing stuff like that, good things happen, and hopefully that's coming soon for her, for sure. Recently, Netflix, Bill Burr came out with a special, Walk Your Way Out. It was hysterical. If you're a fan of Bill Burr, if you're not a fan of Bill Burr, if you just like comedy, check it out also. And other than that, that's our update. What else is going on? Got myself a Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick. Hacked it so that I could get Cody on it. Now I have every channel in the world, no matter what country. So the UFC was on this weekend, UFC 208 in Brooklyn. Not the best card in the world. Anderson Silva made a comeback, but he's 41, so he did well. Won his fight. Nothing. He had moments of old Anderson in there where he was just methodically moving in a creepy way where that fight could easily end at any moment. But other than that, good fights all the way around. Super Bowl, I did not watch. I've been listening to everything going on post Super Bowl. Apparently there was an amazing comeback. Tom Brady is the man. I don't care that he is a New England quarterback. And I used to be a Jets fan. I say used to be because I just don't care about football. I am excited, though, because now that I have Cody and I have all these channels, I will be able to watch some lacrosse this year. And even better than that is I don't have to watch it live or like on cable. You can just pick up replays of the streams. And I'll probably go through a tutorial about that next week. I know that there's friends and family out there who don't know what a Fire Stick is and don't know the benefits of it. I tried to reach out to my father the other day when I got it to see if he's an Apple user. Not that that's a knock on anybody, but he's got the iTV in his house, and he had already upgraded. What I was trying to do is get him some information on this Fire Stick, man. This Fire Stick is fire. Basically, what it does is it surfs the internet for live streams of any sporting event or TV going on, movies, anything like that. I was excited. I was able to find this uh, TV show that my wife and I were watching on Netflix a couple of years ago called Alaska: The Last Frontier. It's a pretty awesome show. It's probably my favorite show of all the Alaska shows, except for the crab show, Deadliest Catch. But then I no longer watch that one either. So Alaska: The Last Frontier was cool. It's about homesteaders in Alaska and their survival, what they have to do to attain it. So pretty good series. If you're into it, look into it. If not, no worries. Enjoy. Go about your day. Just wanted to check in on everybody. And oh man, it's only 2:09. I got a few more minutes for you guys. Uh, let's see. Well, controversial news. President Trump has been doing a lot of stuff, man. I am. I don't want to say indifferent because I don't want to feel like I don't care. I do care, but I realize that there's very little I can do from my end to affect anything happening on that side. But sorry, I'm looking for my notes for the podcast that I should have already opened up, but they got closed in the meantime. Wi-Fi is back, so that's why I haven't been on the podcasts for over a month. January 4th, I was looking at the date a little while ago, was my last podcast. Since then, they had given me an alternative service device, which is basically a way of saying they continue to charge me to give me 2G connection at home. So, not crazy about that. What can you do? You know, this is Puerto Rico, and people do what they need to. Unfortunately, sometimes they need to clear trees and debris from their yard, and they knock down cable wires that connect to my internet. And such is life. That happened. That's what happened with our internet. It's been down since then. I've had, like I said, 2G connection for about a month. The other day, I plugged it in just to test it, and the light came on, so I was excited to see that. Just under, I think it was 2 days shy of a month, I had that 2G service here. So I was going ape shit. You never realized how fast 5 megabytes is until you have 2G service. I used to complain about the 5 megabyte service that shows up at our house, and I will never do that again because I'll take 5 megabytes over nothing. Let's see. Oh, my wife and I, well, excuse me, I should correct that. My wife saw the Celia series on Netflix. I was there with her as she was watching it, but I only saw so much of it. I can only be a fan of so many telenovelas. That's essentially what they did. The one thing I did love is that they made it a one season ordeal. They made 80 episodes, one season, done. 80 episodes later, you're finished. That was pretty crazy to see that the way they did that. I wish they would have done Narcos the same way. That would have been awesome. But yeah, so I got a good education on Celia Cruz and the very dramatic life she lived. We got to see a little bit more and got to see a little bit more education from the Cuban Revolution, which going to school in Miami, I knew several Cubans. My old tech teacher, who hopefully I can get him on the podcast, actually came from Cuba on a vessel. And I say on a vessel because he said it wasn't quite a boat. When you hear, hopefully, I don't want to tell a story because then that'll ruin his story on the podcast. But he's got a crazy story on how he came to the United States when he went to the Miami. I love it. And to get more information on what was happening in Cuba to make people venture off into the open ocean. Even though it's only 90 miles, you take 90 miles. Hey, that's from here to there. Man, 90 miles in a unmotorized craft. That's nuts. That's nuts to even think about for me. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting because of the way the dictatorship took over there in Cuba. Um, it was very interesting to see how the wealthy were affected as well as the poor. The idea of revolution obviously sounds good to the half that's struggling. Um, but to even see the poor in Cuba go against the revolt, or the revolution, was interesting. Uh, I don't know what else to say about that, but it was a great series. Check it out if you haven't already. And just saw the OJ series, The People versus OJ Simpson. Um, I think I was 10 years old when that all happened. 93, 94. Yes, I was about 10 or 11 when all that took place. So I only remember, uh, the news captivating every channel is what I remember about that time. And the only reason I remember that is because I remember hearing my family argue about it. Uh, Not that they were arguing about the case. Obviously, they would have their comments, but the issue that they would show it on every single station all day. Um, so it was interesting to see the documentary. I think did a decent job staying unbiased. They give you hints of guilt and innocence on both sides. Um, feel how you may about that situation. I have no feeling on it. I just remember that being a headline in the news back when I was a kid. So it was interesting to see it now as an adult. I mean, I've seen other movies, and you've seen other things that talk about the OJ story, but I hadn't seen it in such detail. So it was interesting to see. My wife and I saw 30 for 30 on OJ on Netflix, and that was um, they were talking about I think it was called June 12th. I could be mistaken. It's been a while since we saw it, but good series. I finished that one rather quickly. So yeah. All right, so 2:16, almost got to get out of here. But this podcast was brought to you by mermaidbeachweddings.com. You can go to mermaidbeachweddings.com, fill out their contact form. And if you've ever thought about getting married on the beach in Florida, it might be more affordable than you think it. Um, so, sorry, let me pause that music. I shouldn't have done that. Never mind. Yeah, I was going to show. Oh, never mind. I can. There we go. It is mermaidbeachweddings.com, as I said before. They've got great packages that'll show you how affordable it can be to get married on the beach in Florida. This is a big thing that's been going on for about 2 years now. This specific company, and they've made a lot of people very happy doing this. So this is a service they provide. Go ahead and contact them. Let them know. In the contact page, there is a promotional code, and basically it'll tell them how you got there, and you can just go ahead and credit us over here at the Perception Therapy Podcast. It is you can simply put in the promo code Sell the Tech or Perception Therapy Podcast. For those of you who have credit issues, please contact a1credit.us. This is a credit consulting firm. They can help you do all kinds of things like get collections off your record, charge-offs, judgments, liens, inquiries, bankruptcies, foreclosures, repossessions, and late payments. They've helped several clients remove information like that from their credit report, and so you can give them a call or go to their website, a1credit.us. for more information, and let them know Sal from the Perception Therapy Podcast sent you over there. And other than that, not much else. Let's go ahead and throw in for salthetech.com. Obviously, that is my website, hosting the podcast there, as well as other services. I am doing my technology consulting service from there, where I can help small businesses with their technological infrastructure. They are a small business just getting off the ground. You don't have a lot of overhead to spend in that kind of infrastructure. Give me a call. We can get some low-cost things going and get your business moving. All right? Other than that, everybody, this has been the Perception Therapy Podcast. You can now catch us on iTunes and Google Play, as well as CastBox. I am working on a Stitcher account. And, of course, you can always catch us here on YouTube, so subscribe. And for any questions or comments, feel free to get us on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is all the same, at SalTheTech, SalThetech. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I am looking into getting some theme music, or at least some intro music. I have a friend who is very lyrically gifted. I have him on it, but he has been on it for a couple of weeks now. Then again, I'm supposed to be releasing a podcast a couple of weeks ago. So in fairness, we've both been not on it, as we say we are. But hopefully that is in the works, and hopefully that'll be coming true soon. Other than that, everybody, that's it for this 34th episode of the Perception Therapy Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. My Valentine's Day wishes for everyone, as everyone gets what they want. All right? So take care.